Outside of Seattle, Washington, lives a 37-year-old man who streams every day he can, begging for money from his viewers, controlling them like a cult leader. This man is Phil Burnell, better known to the detractors as the Pig Roach, and these are his files.
Every time Phil says that he needs money, he's scamming you. This is a situation where, once again, I've done absolutely nothing wrong whatsoever, and I'm getting punished like I did, you know? However, contributions are mandatory, or not, excuse me, boy did I screw that one up. Contributions are not mandatory.
Tonight, on this episode of the Pig Roach Files, we're going to talk about walking away from the DSP vortex. So over the 11 years Phil has been on the internet, he has valued one thing over friends and family, and the thing is money. He loves to flaunt it when he has it, when he's living high on the hog. All we have to do is look back at his old videos in his condo where he was filling it up with just stuff when he was white hot popular back on YouTube. And he was just raking in cash from machinima. And he spent it on a BMW to show off to his friends. Now his buddies found out that he was moving away. And they're kind of bummed out. It wasn't about money, as Phil kind of put out to be. That they were mad for some reason, and he lashed out about it, and we got the infamous John and Howard podcast video that you can still go and look up to this day. And I believe Phil did try to say something about it, but the video got deleted and just doesn't exist anymore because he walked it back, and that was a smart call on his play. But his friends said, fine, you're moving across the country. I guess that's it. And they said their piece with that podcast, and they cut ties. Now, when they did this, they left it alone. They walked away, didn't dump anything about Phil, just said what they said, and that was it. So 5 years later, after moving across the country with his then-girlfriend, Leanna, her soap business folds, and she has to go get a real job to help make the ends meet in the snort fort. And after a couple years, it was enough. It was time to move on. She just needed to spread her wings and try to do something different with her life. And that thing was not going to be with Phil. Now, Leanna really, really loved Phil. And that was evident. And when that relationship started to really sour, you could see it. She mocked him all the time, made fun of him all the time. You could tell she liked to go on the trips and travel like they did. But when Phil started to really get into financial issues, those trips were cut out. And they didn't happen as often. And they didn't go anywhere except for Seattle, which is only a 40-minute car ride. And that wasn't what Leanna wanted. And she started to seek attention from somebody else, apparently. Now, that's fine. Relationships end. People change. And she left, and now look at her. We've got pictures of her smiling and giving us a good thumbs up with a ring on the finger. People think it's an engagement ring, and it very well could possibly be that. And I'm happy for her. She left DSP's vortex, put it all aside, hasn't said a single word about it, which there's a theory out there that Phil is paying her hush money, but who knows? It's just wild speculation at that point. But we know that Leanna looks happier and healthier than when she was with Phil. Now, does she probably have the same personality? Yeah. I bet it clashes all the time. I bet she's still pretty whiny. That's just how she came out. I'm sure she can change over time when she matures and grows up even more. Now, these are close people to Phil that he just discarded because it was done. It was over. I didn't need them anymore. They weren't fulfilling his needs of money or sex or whatever else he could get his grubby little paws on. Then he started to secretly battle depression, and it came out, and he said he was depressed, and that he started to talk to somebody behind the scenes too at the same time. And that turns out to be his now wife, Kat, who they say that they have an amazing relationship. At least that's what he says. Correction, because she hasn't been on stream since, it was Tevin's fault, once again. So Phil is a sour, grumpy old man who wants to sit on his couch begging for money day in, day out now. He went on a nice little rant about friendships and loyalty and stuff like that. And the only thing that Phil is loyal to is the almighty dollar and his own self-interest. So, boil it down. Phil despises his ex-friends, and that's a sad thing. I remember not talking to people for years, turning around, texting them, and they're like, hey man, how's it going? I haven't heard from you for a while. Hopefully things are going well. See, Phil's castle in his gated little community just turned into his tomb. He doesn't leave the house except for 1 day a week. Other days he's hard-working, full-time streamer Phil, trying to get that dollar, trying to stay afloat. And it's kind of getting sad and boring. His gameplays are terrible now. His personality is very bland. I think if he was to get a job, to move on from any drama, to do one stream a day and not bitch about money, he would just fade into the background because he would just be that boring and unentertaining. The only reason people like us talk about him is because it's a dumpster fire and it sets the example of what the low bar on the basic internet is. Now there's other stuff going on that is far more interesting than Phil, and I'm making videos about that stuff currently, but I want them to turn out right and give them a little more attention because they're very interesting topics. Days like today, on the 9th of November, where there was nothing to talk about except for speculation about Leanna's ring and if it wasn't her hand or not. It was, okay, whatever. But the problem with this is that's how boring Phil is. The subject at hand is too boring to hold the attention of detractors and trolls. And that's a problem, because right now trolls are giving him quite a bit of money for some stupid fucking reason. Chasing their own clout or some other stupid gay ops shit that nobody cares about. Code Castiel. Phil is having an issue of keeping people around him right now. And that's because of his own doing. Scamming his fans, treating his viewers poorly, and just being overall boring. He's had mods leave this year several times. Pay piggies who've been around for a while just up and left like the other day. See, when you've been a long-time supporter of Phil and you just get shit on all of a sudden and banned, and there's a troll account popping up in his forums saying how mad and upset you are, and then your actual fan comes in their forums and explains that, yeah, that wasn't me, but I'm not coming back. That's an issue. People who've given you a ton of money and a ton of their time, and they just go, not coming back. Too bad. You know? The problem is Phil doesn't change up anything. He just sits there on his couch and goes, huh, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Somebody else will step up. And they always seem to. Now, his contributions, as of late, have been trending down. Phil has tapped pay piggies dry. Until, you know, the end of the month, or in the beginning of the month kind of area, where, you know, the wheelchair bucks roll in, then they splash a little bit on him. But he's having trouble not getting over $27 in tips over a COD stream. That's terrible. And he's just sitting there, doing nothing to change it. He has no friends. He has nobody to collaborate with. He just sends them to the spam email or he blacklists their names overall. So Phil is digging a hole deeper for himself. And we will get to the bottom of it eventually. He always gives us too much information at the wrong time. So come Thanksgiving, he's going to beg again for quite a bit of money. Have another re-emergency about saving the house from the tax man. It's pretty much in the cards. I don't see it happening any other way. And to me, that's what holds you out on watching DSP. Is something else is going to happen that is just monumentally fucked. And somehow the piggy squeezes his way out with that Pig Roach luck of his and does something miraculous, or finds a new whale, or does something absurd and gets a little bit of popularity on a video. It's the cycle. So just bear with it, bear through the burnout, bear through the boredom, and he's going to screw up like he did with that Sonic and Mario at the 2020 Tokyo Games. He fucked that up. He screwed over FTC guidelines. He screwed over his buddies out there in the world. His fans got scammed. Everybody's not happy with it, but they keep coming back. So we'll see where this all leads. And it's going to be a good time. And until then, agents, I just want you to stay safe. Keep working on one thing. Brand new. Day at a time. Learn something new. Be productive. Be better off. And that's what it's all about. If I entertain you for 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes in a video, I'm happy for that. I'm glad because I know how much entertainment I get out of watching other people's content. It's just a great time for everybody, as long as they're not assholes like Phil. So we will enjoy it together. Stay safe, guys. And I'll see you later on this week with an agent update.